All right, let's do converting measurements homework. We're going to use dimensional analysis, factor labeling, whatever you want to call it, over and over. So a couple basics for that is anytime you multiply a number by 1, it's going to give you that number. Okay, so 8 times 7 over 7, well, that's similar to 1. So 8 times 7 over 7 is still 8. Okay. Another thing, we know we can cross out as we go. So if we multiply these, we know if we have something in the numerator and the denominator, we can factor those out. Okay, so this is going to give you 1 over 2. Okay. The same thing goes with labels. If I have centimeters over 1 times inches over centimeters, I can cross out my centimeters and I'm left with inches over 1, which is the same as inches. Okay? So those are the basics for everything we're doing here. So we are going to try to change the label. We're going to do some factoring to get the label to be what we want. Here are some facts about units of length. And even though I know some of these you can just think through, I want you to use this method over and over. We're going to change inches to feet. So I have 24 inches, and I want to change that in my answer to feet over 1. Okay, so to do that, I need to get inches on the bottom, and I need to get feet on the top. Okay, so I'm going to look over here, and I'm going to see that 1 foot is 12 inches. So I'm going to plug in 1 foot, 12 inches. This equals 1. 1 foot is 12 inches. Okay, so now I can just multiply straight across, and I get 24 over 12. Reduce that, 24 over 12 is not 12. It's 2 feet. My answer is 2 feet. Now, if I want to simplify first, I can. You can see we cross both those out, and we're just left with foot and no label there. But I can also simplify 24 and 12 if I want. Divide them both by 12 and get 2 over 1. Or do it at the end. Don't want to overwhelm you this week with that, but that was back earlier this year. We did a lot of that with fractions. Okay, the next one then, 7 yards, 1 foot. So I'm starting with yards, and in my answer I want to change it to feet. So to do that, I need feet in my numerator, yards in my denominator. I'll multiply those. So 3 feet is 1 yard, and I'm starting with 7 yards. Okay, so you can see I can cross out a yard in the numerator and denominator. I'm left with 21 feet over 1, which is just 21 feet. Anything over 1 is that number itself. All right, we're just going to repeat that process over and over this week. Here are some facts about volume. You got your table here, 9 pints to cups. So I'm starting with 9 pints. And I want my answer to be in cups. Okay, so to get pints out of the numerator, I need to put it in the denominator. And I want cups in my numerator. So if I have a cup to pint conversion, I'm good to go. Here it is. 2 cups, 1 pint. So now I can cross out that. I'm left with 18 cups over 1, which is just 18 cups. Okay, 8 quarts to gallons. 8 quarts over 1 times, I want quarts in my denominator, and I want my answer to be in gallons. So I'm going to put gallons in my numerator. 4 quarts equals 1 gallon. Makes sense. 4 quarters is $1. 4 quarts, 1 gallon. Cross out quarts. My answer is 8 over 4, which I could simplify first. 8 and 4, divide them both by 2. Divide them both by 2 again. So my answer is 2 gallons over 1, or just 2 gallons. Yes, I know you can just divide by 4 straight away and get your answer 4 quarts, but I want you to get used to this because these are building blocks. Okay, here's some facts about weight. Okay, so now we're doing weight. Ounces to pounds. Okay, so I have my my starting 112 ounce. I want ounce as my denominator to get rid of that. And I'm changing it to pounds. So I need pounds as my numerator. 1 pound is 16 ounces. 1 pound, 16 ounces, so that equals 1. Okay, I can cross out my ounces. I can divide both of these by, I'll start by 2 just to make it easier, something I can do in my head. Okay, and then I can divide both those by 8. So 7 times 1 is 7 pounds. 1 times 1 is, answer is just 7 pounds. Okay, and then the next one, 2 tons to pounds. 2 tons over 1. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. Some of these we want to just memorize too. Okay. Cross out the tons. We're left with 2 times 2,000, 4,000. LBs, 4,000 pounds. Okay. Hopefully you can do your homework faster than I'm explaining this. Okay. Now we got a story problem. A rectangular window is 36 inches long, 24 inches wide. Latoya would like to buy a screen for the window. The cost of the screen is based on the number of square feet the screen is. Use the facts to find the area of the window in square feet. I like to change the units first. So let's change these inches to feet. So 36 inches, 12 inches is 1 foot. Okay, so I can get rid of inches. 36 and 12 divided by 12 is 3. So that's 3 feet. That's 3 feet. Okay. 24 inches, we can do similarly, but with the number 24. And I know this takes a little bit of time to write. You could just know it off the top of your head, but I want to see this work. I want to see you getting used to this. Divided by 12 is 2, divided by 12 is 1. So that is 2 feet. Okay, so a rectangular window is 3 feet by 2 feet. So we know base times height, length times width, 3 times, let me show it right. 3 feet times 2 feet. 3 times 2 is 6. Feet times feet is square feet. So my answer is 6 square feet. Don't make this mistake. 36 times 24, which gives you a huge number, and then think you can just take that big number and divide it by 12. You can't, because we did feet times feet. So you could divide it by 12 times 12, or divide it by 12 and then divide it by 12 again. So you could do that and divide it by 144, but it's easier just to divide by 12 first. Okay, that is a common mistake. Okay, then you want to make sure it makes sense. 6 square foot for a window. Yeah, it's not a very big window. Okay, now we're going to change metric. Last month, a coral reef grew 8,000 millimeters taller. How much did it grow in meters? So I'm changing millimeters to meters. I need to know how many millimeters are in meters. Okay. So my basics in the metric unit is meters. And then you have dogs, cats, mice, so milli, centa, deci, okay, and then I have deca, and then I have hecto, and then I have kilo, okay. Knights ride horses and slay dragons. Knights, horses, dragons, dogs, cats, mice. Okay, this is my base. As I go this way, I'm multiplying by 10. Ooh, I spelled kilo wrong. As I go this way, I'm dividing by 10. So it's all about moving the decimal point. Okay, so 1,000 of these in this, 100 of these in this, 10 of these in this. This is 10 of these, this is 100 of these, this is 1,000 of these. Okay, so 10, 100, 1,000, divided by 10, divided by 100, divided by 1,000. Okay, so the base 10 system. So With this, we're just moving the decimal point. So milli to meter, 1,000 away. So I'm gonna move the decimal. It is right here right now in 8,000. I'm gonna move it 3 in either direction. Okay, so the answer is either gonna be 8 or it's gonna be 8 million. Okay, divided by 100,000 times 1,000. Well, it's clearly gonna be 8 meters and not 8,000 meters. All right, we had a video fail. We'll get back and move on to question 7. It takes 44 kiloliters of water to fill Wong's swimming pool. How much is this in liters? Okay, so from meters to kiloliters, it's 1,000. Kilo means 1,000. So I'm gonna either multiply by 1,000 or divide by 1,000. So this is my starting number. I'm gonna either move it 3 this way times divided by 1,000 or 3 this way. Okay, so it's either gonna be 44,000 or 44 thousandths. 44,000 makes way more sense. So we're gonna multiply by 1,000. 44,000 liters of water for a pool. Lots of liters. An aquarium holds 190 liters of water. How much is this in gallons? Okay, so 190 liters, we're changing that to gallons. So we want gallons in my numerator. Okay, so to do that, I need liters in my denominator. 1 gallon, 3.8 liters. 3.8 liters, 1 gallon. That equals 1. So now I'm gonna multiply those and end up with gallons. 190 over 3.8. 190 divided by 3.8. I think it's gonna be 75. No, it's not. 50. 50 gallons. Makes sense. Okay, our runner sprinted 594 feet. How many yards is this? 594 feet over 1. I want to change that to yards. So I'm going to use the ratio I find here. 1 yard is 3 feet. I can cross out feet. 594 divided by 3. Well, 600 divided by 3 is 200. And that's 6 less than that. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So 2 less than 200 is 198. You could work it out the other way too, but that's what you'll find. All right, so that is actually, we started converting standard to metric, customary to metric. Okay, a car is traveling at 120 kilometers per hour. 120 kilometers per hour. What is the car's speed in miles per hour? Kilometers per hour to miles per hour. Okay, so 120 kilometers over 1 hour. And I want to change that to miles over 1 hour. So we're going to keep hours on the bottom, but we need to get rid of kilometers and change it to miles. Okay, so to do that, oh, it says how many in 3 hours. Okay, first let's figure out 1 hour. Assume that 1 mile is equal to 1.6 kilometers. Okay, so so we can cross that up and we're left with miles per hour. 120 divided by 1.6 is 75. You can look that up later if you want. 75 miles in 1 hour. Okay, they're going for 3 hours. So 75 in one, 75 in the next, 75 in the next. That's going to give you 225 miles, not miles per hour, because you're going 3 hours. So we could do this times 3 hours over 1, cross out my hours, 225 miles. Drive into Kentucky in 3 hours. Makes sense. As part of an annual fundraiser to help raise money for diabetes research, Christine joined a bike-a-thon. The track she biked on was 1,920 yards long. Christine biked 38.5 laps. Her sponsor agreed to donate an amount of money for each mile that she biked. How many miles did she bike? First, fill in the blanks on the left side using ratios, then write your answer. Okay, up here we just did 1 or 2 step. Now we're doing 3 steps. So this gets a little more advanced. Okay, so we know we want to get rid of laps. And we know that each lap is 1,920 yards. So let's use that one first. 20 yards, 1 lap. Okay, so now we've crossed out laps and we're left with yards. We're trying to change yards to miles. So let's first change yards to feet. We can't put it in here though because we have to cross out yards, so it's this. 3 feet is 1 yard. If we had a conversion straight from yards to miles, we'd be good to go, but we don't have that. Okay, so now we can cross out yards and we're left with feet. We want to change feet to miles. So we want to get rid of feet and we want to get miles. So we need miles as my numerator, feet as my denominator. 5,280 feet. Okay, so then we should be left with just a label of miles. All my other ones should be crossed out. So I'm going to do with my calculator 38.5 times 1,920 times 3 for a numerator of 221,760, and then I'm going to divide that by my denominator, which is just 5,280. It actually gives you 5,280 miles. That sounds like a lot of miles. Each of these is about a mile. That answer does not make sense. I'm gonna have to back up and look at this again. 38.5 times 1,920 times 3 gives you, divided by 5,280. Okay, that gives you 42. I messed up with my calculator. I did my calculations wrong. 42 miles makes a lot more sense than 5,000 miles. Even I make mistakes sometimes. A lot. Okay, so that's your homework for the week. Let's do a good job on this. Good luck.